Antonio Bonfiglio, Marine Corps. Yeah, that's it, right?
Cool. And then, so you just read the script.
Yes, sir.
What about the script resonated with you, and why do you think it's an important story?
I think it's an important. So first off, the part of the script that really resonated with me was of from the character Ben, and knowing that I have a child also, and kind of I'm reading through that part where that father gives his son the ice cream, and he lights up because he smiles at that one time, but there's so much darkness behind all of that. We never know what anyone's going through, and we can have these interactions in life, and we really have zero clue as to who that person really is. We just make assumptions. And for the other character, James, he thought he was having a bad day, but had no idea what Ben was going through. The importance of it is, it's just knowing that where where people are at. And again, I mean, obviously, like as a veteran myself, just knowing that there are deep, dark things that people don't show everyone. And again, in regards to veterans, we're often taught to not show emotion and not share feelings. So that's kind of like where I went through with all that.
You work with Wounded Warrior Project, right?
Correct.
Yeah. What do you do with that organization?
Yeah, so I'm a physical health and wellness coach with Wounded Warrior Project. So I help get veterans and their family support members engaged in physical activities, healthy eating habits, healthy sleeping habits. We run daily events and multi-day events as well.
Hmm. When did you transition into that?
I transitioned into this role in March of 2020, so right before COVID actually started here.
Wow. And then prior to that, was there something between the Marines and that?
Yeah, so prior to that, I worked in the fitness industry. I worked in the gyms as a personal trainer and managing fitness teams.
When you finished with the Marine Corps and transitioned into civilian life, what was it like for you?
So, man, hindsight's 2020, right? Looking looking back, I had no idea. I was so lost and damaged. It really took years to understand and recognize that. Um, it was a really confusing time in my life, and I unintentionally made some. I shouldn't say unintentionally. I made some drastic changes that changed my location, and it allowed me to almost restart my life. And I had no idea that that's what I was doing, or that I needed to do that. And I was just so lost and broken, and I wanted to get away from everything that I actually needed to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. Yeah. We can do that in all kinds of facets of life, really, don't we? It's a shame that it's so built into us to resist what we need.
At the time, you don't know what you don't know. I mean, that was 2007 when I got out. I mean, we were just told, like, hey, don't forget, update your resume. Don't you don't have to, avoid things on the side of the highway. Don't worry, they're not going to blow up. And you think, oh, okay. And you don't, I mean, we didn't realize that that was a very real thing. And it still is. There's just,
Mhm.
there's just certain control mechanisms we now, put into it, relationships with people as well. You just people come and go so quick. You don't even I wasn't even trying to like build a healthy friend, group of friends because I just figured like, someone's gonna, they'll be here, they won't be here, it doesn't matter.
Mhm. Are there still times where memories or whatever sneak up on you?
Yeah, I mean, you call it memories or flashbacks. The from like, I mean, it could be a smell, right? The smell of diesel fuel.
Mm.
Um, if ironically enough reminds me of stirring a barrel of burning shit, like literally. Um, so like there's the smells of things, or there's sounds, and there's um watching people, different actions and movements, and just having just these suspicions that I don't think I would normally have if I didn't go through what I went through. But I'll never forget this one moment. It had to be like maybe 2 months after I got out, and I'm with a buddy. We're in his car, and we're driving past a like a self-service car wash, and unknowingly there's a guy outside, and he bangs together these two car mats. And those car mats, right? Windows are open on the car, right? It's a sunny day, but the echo of those mats coming together perfectly, right? Like, if you just hit them like a little bit, it makes
Mm.
like a thud, but pop, boom. And I hit the deck of my buddy's little like Toyota Corolla. I don't know if I wasn't wearing a seatbelt, but I must have slid like right through the seatbelt on down onto the floor. And of course, he's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?" I'm like, "It's all good." Like, I'm good. I got scared for a moment there. I'm like, "All right, well, we're in New Jersey. It'll be okay."
Well, you're in New Jersey, it might not be all right.
Well, that right, exactly.
Yeah, I feel like there's quite a lot of responsibility in tackling a story. Like I've obviously got friends, like Ben is one of my best friends in the world, but it's still like, not only do I feel like an onus of responsibility for like doing justice to this thing that is different for everybody, like how those demons and memories and ghosts and shit come up on everybody I know is not a universal thing. While there are maybe some aspects of it that are definitely relatable, if not universal, for people who have been through it, I know that it's not the same, and it's it's triggered by different things. It's the range of it is totally different for people, and I in addition to that, I think like part of the thing that I feel, maybe not pressure, but yes, just the responsibility to also try to get civilians to like actually take a moment to go, wait, is it really like that? Can it actually be that much? Because I think it's so, I notice people when I talk to people about combat veterans, and I've had more and more conversations about that because of this project, but I notice that a lot of civilians have a tendency to just, it's like they don't want to know, like they just shut off a point and go, right, but it's not like whatever. And it's tough to make people, I think, truly listen to try and understand what that is. Maybe partly because it's different for people. So you've got some people who don't experience things to the same extent as others, and then you've got people who are just never going to open up about it anyway to like help that happen. But
Jack, I have a really good friend of mine who, back, you know, 13, 16 years ago now, he would say, well, it's not like you were on the front lines or anything. And I remember I didn't know how to answer that because his what he saw, right? Like whether it's from the news or what he thought I did, um, I wouldn't be able to change his opinion, and I didn't want to have a discussion about it. I didn't want to talk about it. So after saying like you have no idea what you're talking about, I would just change the conversation and go somewhere else.
Hmm. It sucks though, right? Because if there's one thing that you're already feeling, it's alone, and then that feels like it's the answer is to stay alone and not invite people in, like we were saying earlier. But very tangibly in that moment is the expression of that.
I just now started creating a group of friends that I haven't had a group of friends since I left the Marine Corps in 2007. I'm just, again, like, I don't want to get close to anyone. Again, you're either going to leave, you're going to die, or we're not going to connect on, any level that's important to me. So yeah, keeping people away or not building relationships, it's all part of that coping mechanism. We don't know that we're doing it when we're doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I should say I didn't know I was doing it because, like you said, like it's different for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so easy to make a prescription for everyone I think that's true about absolutely anything. Like when we feel something to be so true, it must therefore be true for others, and maybe, but it's a really easy place for us to fall into not actually connecting with people because we think it's just our reality is reality, our memory is the truth, but it's almost always flawed, especially in that regard, because your memory is your perspective of it and how you felt and all of that stuff. So it can't be the same for everybody.
Like that whole like part on memory. There are things that I remember vividly. And again, it's happened so many years ago now. Like, I don't like, was that real? Did that really happen? Where have I started creating in my brain like other parts of this memory? How much of it's true? How much of it has just been made up? How much of it are just swapping, stories with the boys, that now I've created my own image of something I wasn't even a part of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we do it on the smallest scale, but then when you add complex emotion around the event, it skews it so much more. I mean, we feel it with breakups, we feel it with, any big life event, but I think the extremity of it with something like being in combat is it's got to be pretty close to the end of the range of that intensity.
Yeah, I'll share this thing that I again remember so clearly. We were on a patrol down this like dirt road. There's maybe 3 or 4 guys behind me, and behind them is one of our big 7-ton trucks with somebody up in the gun. There's a grove. I can't remember if it's on both sides, but there's definitely a grove on one side. There's a grove, and then there's a fence on the opposite side. And I'm on point. I'm in front. I still swear to God, this happened. 2 hyenas in a rack run out in front of me, see the fence, dart back around, run right back into the grove. I stop. I'm like shaking. This is the most scared I've ever been. And I asked the guys behind me, like, did you just see that? No one saw it. No one else saw this. And like to this day, like I swear it happened. I don't know. Like I don't know if this is some crazy dream I had. I've never ever seen or heard of hyenas in Iraq before. Maybe they weren't hyenas. I don't know what to tell you. They weren't dogs. I remember it so clearly.
You'd think if it was at least dogs, they'd be like, nah, it was dogs, dude. But
Yeah,
just be
no,
like,
nothing.
nah.
Nothing. Thank you for what you're doing. Um, I don't think there's enough of this out there. I mean, obviously we have, there's been tons of things that Hollywood's put out over the years, but I don't know, maybe it's knowing Ben, maybe it's seeing, you know, seeing the letter to Mr. and Mrs. Taylor sitting in Ben's lap. Um, but I appreciate what you're doing here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, really nice to get to meet you.
Likewise.